3 years ago, I walked away from the relentless toxicity of my family. Today, I am a tech success story. My sister orchestrated a scheme to expose me at my grandmother's birthday celebration. But the truth she uncovered ultimately destroyed her. Before I tell you my story, let me know where you're watching from. Drop a comment below and subscribe to hear more stories about family betrayals and unexpected justice. The last time I saw my sister, Victoria, she wore a smug, infuriating smile as she sat across the mahogany dining table in our parents' penthouse in Manhattan. My mother, Hope, sobbed dramatically into a lace handkerchief as my father's, Richard's, vicious words echoed in the tense silence. "I always knew you wouldn't amount to anything." That night, 36 months ago, was my absolute limit. It was the final moment I permitted my family to reduce me to something insignificant and useless. Hope, alternating between noisy sniffles, pleaded, "Sweetheart, we just want what's best for you. If you'd only listen to Victoria about the opening at her firm." I cut in, my voice surprisingly steady despite the inferno raging inside me. "The junior administrative role where I'd fetch her coffee?" Victoria's perfectly sculpted, yet irritating smile remained unchanged. "Everyone needs to start somewhere, little sister. Some of us simply start higher than others." The familiar, ancient knot of anxiety in my gut clenched tighter. For 24 years, I had been perpetually trapped beneath Victoria's colossal shadow. She amassed accolades, I accumulated criticism. Every accomplishment I ever achieved was measured against hers and inevitably deemed insufficient. Every misstep I made was transformed into a family legend, whispered and rehashed at every gathering. I replied calmly, "I already have a job. I'm doing well at a new technology startup in Silicon Valley." Richard scoffed, swirling the amber liquid in his glass of expensive scotch. "Are you talking about playing with computers? Meanwhile, your sister manages charitable organizations that make a profound impact on people's lives." I couldn't resist muttering under my breath. "Making changes to her bank account, you mean?" The silence that followed was utterly deafening. Victoria's flawless composure finally shattered. "What are you implying?" she snarled, her eyes flashing with sudden heat. Hope swooped in before I could respond. "Emma, apologize to your sister right now for everything she has done for you." "Done for me?" I truly laughed, a strange, hollow sound even to my own ears. "What exactly did she do?" I challenged. That was the line. I vowed to myself that I would never again allow them to define my worth. Richard slammed his glass down, the echo cracking through the room. "That is enough. You've always been envious of Victoria's success. If you worked half as hard as you claim, you wouldn't be whining." "I work 50 hours every week," I screamed, leaping to my feet. "I'm in charge of development on a massive project, but you have never asked about it, have you?" "Sit down," Hope said, her voice turning stern. "We aren't finished." "Actually," I said, clutching my pocketbook, my hand trembling, yet my resolve firm. "Yes, we are." I took a deep, bracing breath. "I'm done being the family disappointment. I'm tired of you worshiping Victoria while treating me like I'm broken. I'm just finished." Victoria, ever the smooth manipulator, stepped forward, her voice dripping with feigned concern. "Mom and Dad, she's just having another one of her episodes. Remember back in high school when—" "Goodbye," I cut her off, walking towards the door. "Do not try to contact me." Richard's icy, menacing voice pursued me. If you walk out that door, don't expect a single cent of aid if you fail, which you undoubtedly will. I hesitated in the doorway and turned back for one last searing look. My mother's mascara-streaked face, my father's resolute displeasure, and Victoria's sickeningly satisfied smirk. They were the perfect family portrait, just as they always had been, with one glaring, terrible flaw: me. "Watch me," I said. It was both a promise and a curse, and then I locked the door behind me. 3 years passed, 1,095 days of silence. But in that time, I built something they couldn't take away: a life, an identity they wouldn't even recognize. My phone buzzed this morning with a message from my cousin Jessica, ending 3 years of quiet. "Hello, stranger. You won't believe it, but Grandma Agnes's 75th birthday party is next month. The whole family is arriving. Victoria's coordinating everything and has some extravagant plans. She has been inquiring a lot about you." I glanced at the message as my artisanal coffee cooled beside my high-powered laptop. My office window provided a spectacular view of the San Francisco downtown skyline, the exact view that had recently graced magazine covers advertising my company, the same view my family would never conceive I possessed. Another communication from Jessica flashed up. "You should come and show them who you are now." My finger hovered above the delete button, but something stopped me. Perhaps it was time. It was time to show them precisely who Emma had become. My phone buzzed again, unobserved. It was a news alert. A tech innovator has been named to Forbes' list of the 30 under 40. The screen reflected my own face. I had insisted they omit my middle name from the piece. My family never bothers reading tech news. I recalled Victoria, curious about my life, arranging something outrageous for Grandma Agnes's party. My sister always loved a grand spectacle. "Well," I said to myself, a slow, deliberate smile spreading across my face. "Let us offer her one." I typed a brief response to Jessica. "Tell me more about the celebration." "Someone's been looking through your social media," Jason continued, settling into the chair across from my desk. "And I am not talking about the regular tech journalists." I minimized the quarterly reports on my screen. "Let me guess," I murmured, a familiar, cold sensation running up my spine. "My sister." Jason leaned forward and lowered his voice, despite the fact that we were entirely alone in my spacious office. "But you have a chatty cousin who messaged you about the party. She informed me that Victoria has been showing everyone images of you outside some upscale condo in Manhattan." Interesting, given that I've never mentioned anything about where I live. Exactly. Jason had been my right hand since the early days when we were coding in a cramped basement. He understood everything, including why I had kept my achievements hidden from my family. She employed someone named Emma, a private investigator. I felt that same old chill, the one I used to get before family dinners. "You are sure?" Remember Liam from IT security? His wife works for an investigative firm. She overheard your sister's name mentioned during a briefing. I glanced at the message as my artisanal coffee cooled beside my high-powered laptop. My office window provided a spectacular view of the San Francisco downtown skyline, the exact view that had recently graced magazine covers advertising my company, the same view my family would never conceive I possessed. Another communication from Jessica flashed up. "You should come and show them who you are now." My finger hovered above the delete button, but something stopped me. Perhaps it was time. It was time to show them precisely who Emma had become. My phone buzzed again, unobserved. It was a news alert. A tech innovator has been named to Forbes' list of the 30 under 40. The screen reflected my own face. I had insisted they omit my middle name from the piece. My family never bothers reading tech news. I recalled Victoria, curious about my life, arranging something outrageous for Grandma Agnes's party. My sister always loved a grand spectacle. Well, I said to myself, a slow, deliberate smile spreading across my face. Let us offer her one. I typed a brief response to Jessica. Tell me more about the celebration. Someone's been looking through your social media, Jason continued, settling into the chair across from my desk. And I am not talking about the regular tech journalists. I minimized the quarterly reports on my screen. Let me guess, I murmured, a familiar cold sensation running up my spine. My sister. Jason leaned forward and lowered his voice, despite the fact that we were entirely alone in my spacious office. But you have a chatty cousin who messaged you about the party. She informed me that Victoria has been showing everyone images of you outside some upscale condo in Manhattan. Interesting, given that I've never mentioned anything about where I live. Exactly. Jason had been my right hand since the early days when we were coding in a cramped basement. He understood everything, including why I had kept my achievements hidden from my family. She employed someone named Emma, a private investigator. I felt that same old chill, the one I used to get before family dinners. You are sure? Remember Liam from IT security? His wife works for an investigative firm. She overheard your sister's name mentioned during a briefing. I would not have asked if I hadn't. Something isn't right about this. Victoria is overly enthusiastic, like she's preparing a public execution rather than a birthday party. That sounds like her. Emma. Her tone softened slightly. What actually happened 3 years ago? My email pinged before I could respond. A new message. There was no subject line from an address I didn't recognize. Only a photo attachment. I opened it and felt my blood run cold. It was a photo of me heading into my office building yesterday morning with a coffee in hand. The angle indicated it was taken from across the street. I have to go, Grandma. I will consider about the celebration. I hung up and zoomed in on the photograph. A faint watermark could be seen in the corner. Manhattan Investigations. My phone vibrated again. This time, the text came from an unknown number. Interesting career path for someone who started dabbling with computers 3 years ago. Your sister says hi. I should have been afraid. Instead, I felt something different, something tougher, colder, that had been accumulating for 36 months. I dialed Jason. Remember the contact you mentioned, the one whose wife works for the PI firm? I need to meet him today. My building is under surveillance. He's snapping pictures. If Victoria wants to play detective, that's okay. But she overlooked something. Crucial. What is that? I looked at the shot again, seeing my designer suit and my company's emblem clearly apparent behind me. I'm no longer a terrified little sister, and I have resources that she cannot imagine. What are you planning to do? Last night, I thought of Victoria's sneer and how many times she had torn me down to build herself up. About the lies she was telling now, attempting to destroy whatever she imagined I'd become. I'm going to let her finish her investigation, and then I'm going to show her what a real takedown looks like. The truth was coming, all of it, and this time, I'd be the one smirking across the table. Aaron Davis's office looked exactly like one you'd expect from a private investigator. Weathered leather chairs, filing cabinets, and an old, scarred desk. The man himself was a surprise. Crisp suit, piercing eyes, and a manner that suggested he'd rather be anywhere else. "Miss Walker," he remarked without standing, "I believe this is about the surveillance photos." "You assumed, right?" I sat across from him, mirroring his posture. "Want to know why you're photographing me for my sister?" He gave me a long, steady look. "Professional courtesy prohibits me from discussing other clients." "Professional courtesy did not prevent you from emailing me the photo." A faint smile appeared on his face. "That's true, I did." I leaned forward. "So either you're playing both sides or something about this case compelled you to contact me. Which is it?" Aaron unlocked a drawer and took out a large manila envelope. "Your sister paid me $10,000 to prove you were lying about your accomplishments. She was insistent that I uncover evidence of fraud, dishonesty, and possibly even criminal behavior. And," he paused, "I discovered this." He slid the envelope across the desk. "Take a peek." Inside, there were documents, photos, financial reports, my company's valuation reports, pictures of my penthouse overlooking Central Park, my vacation property in the Berkshires, press clippings about my tech innovations, and all I'd worked for, all in black and white. Aaron commented quietly, "That's an impressive portfolio, self-made, clean, and legal. The opposite of what your sister was looking for. So why show me?" "Because when investigating you, I discovered something else, something that shouldn't be there." He took another, thinner envelope from his desk. "This was incorrectly filed in your sister's background records. I don't think she realizes I have it." My hand shook slightly when I opened it. There was only one page inside, a bank statement from Victoria's humanitarian organization. Red flags appeared instantly. Irregular transfers, inconsistent quantities, and monies flowing to personal accounts. "Is this what I believe it is?" Aaron nodded. "Your sister has been embezzling from her own charity, starting with small sums and working her way up to larger ones. The probe regarding her activities began 2 months ago. She does not know, not yet, but she will." He leaned back. "Here's the thing, Miss Walker. I do not like being used. Your sister paid me to destroy you. They told me lies about who you were. Instead, I discovered someone who created something real." My phone vibrated, another message from Jessica. "Victoria is telling everyone she will expose you at Grandma Agnes's celebration. She claims she has proof you are living a lie." I showed Aaron the message. He actually laughed. "She plans to submit my report during the party. He stated he believes it will disgrace you, make it clear to everyone that you are a phony. Instead, she will give proof of your legitimate achievement to your entire family." He motioned to the envelopes. "Take both of them. Consider this an apology for the surveillance." I stood and gathered the documents. "Why are you truly assisting me?" "Much to say, I have a sister too." He smiled grimly. "And sometimes karma requires a little shove." I called Jason from outside his office. "So," he asked. "It's better than we expected. Victoria isn't only attempting to expose me, she is going to accidentally reveal herself." "What do you mean?" "She has been stealing from her charity, Jason, and she is about to deliver me evidence of both my accomplishments and her crimes in front of our entire family." A low whistle. That is poetic justice. I laughed, recalling all those family dinners, smirks, and sharp remarks. What is the best part? She's paying for her own demise. Can you identify where she acquired the money to hire Aaron Davis? Don't tell me about the family trust account, the one she always felt I wasn't responsible enough to use. My phone vibrated again. I received an email from Hope. "Emma, please do not come to the party. Avoid exacerbating the situation." I deleted it without replying. 3 years ago, I left their table feeling broken. This time, I'd walk in knowing exactly who I was and, more crucially, who Victoria was. "Jason," I asked, climbing into my car, "remember how you said I was planning something?" "Yeah, I'm not anymore." I looked at the envelopes on my passenger seat. "I'm just going to let Victoria's plan play out exactly as she intended. Sometimes the best revenge is letting people destroy themselves." The party was just a week away. For once, I was eagerly anticipating a family gathering. "Holy moly," Jason said quietly, spreading Aaron Davis's documents on my office table. "This is comprehensive," I said, watching him flip through pages of my life's work. "Forbes features, property documents, and corporate valuations are thoroughly documented." Victoria wanted proof. She got it, but it wasn't the proof she desired. Jason displayed a glossy photo of me presenting at a technology convention in Las Vegas. "This will backfire spectacularly." My phone flashed up, another communication from Victoria, the first direct interaction in 3 years. "I hope you're ready for Grandma Agnes's party, little sister. It's time to show everyone who you truly are." I showed Jason the message. He snorted. "She has no idea, right?" "None." I took up the second envelope, which contained Victoria's secrets. But here is the actual bomb. We spent the next hour going through the charity's financial records. The trend was evident. At first, withdrawals were small, but they gradually increased in size. Money allocated for children's programs was siphoned to personal accounts. Luxury purchases as disguised as operational expenses. "Look at this," Jason pointed to a specific transaction. She hired Aaron Davis using charitable monies. Not only that, I opened my banking app. She also took $10,000 from the family trust account, which she oversees, on the same day. Can she do this legally? No, it requires approval from all beneficiaries. I left bitterly. She presumably assumed I'd never know because I hadn't touched that account in years. Olivia popped her head in through the open door to my office. "Sorry to interrupt, but you must watch this. Victoria just shared something in your family's Facebook group." I brought it up on my laptop. There it was, a lengthy, seemingly sincere post about keeping the family safe from fraud and sharing hard realities. She had even tagged Grandma Agnes. Jason said the words while bending over my shoulder. "Look at them. Dozens of relatives offered their support. My mother wrote, 'It's for the best, sweetheart. She needs help.' My father added, 'Some people can't handle the truth.' Only one comment jumped out. 'Grandma Agnes is cautious about the truths you seek, child. You might not like what you discover.'" "Grandma knows something," Jason remarked. "Grandma always knows something." I shut the laptop. That is why Victoria is performing this at her birthday celebration. She believes Grandma's approval will justify her attack. My phone vibrated again. Aaron Davis this time. "Your sister simply demanded the final report. She says she needs it for a family presentation. I thought you should know." I typed back, "Let her have it." Jason lifted his eyebrow. "Are you really going to let her do this?" "Watch," I replied, bringing up the trust account information on my screen. Victoria was really bent on exposing me. She's becoming sloppy. Look at these transfers. She's been stealing for months, assuming no one will notice. But you did. "No," I smiled. "Grandma did. 3 weeks ago, she asked for an audit of all family funds. That prompted the probe into Victoria's charity. So when Victoria presented Aaron Davis's report, she was giving evidence of my achievement to a grandma who was already aware of her dishonesty." I leaned back. Sometimes the finest vengeance is simply sitting back and watching. Olivia appeared again. "Miss Walker, the board meeting starts in 7 minutes. "Thank you, Olivia." I stood, smoothing my jacket. "Jason, could you please finish reviewing these? I'd like to know every aspect before the celebration." "Yes, but—" He hesitated. "Do you really intend to expose her in front of everyone?" I recalled all the times Victoria had humiliated me during family gatherings. All the smirks, the subtle insults, the way she presented herself as the successful sister while portraying me as the failure. No, I said finally, I'm going to let her expose herself. My phone flashed up one last time. I received a message from Grandma Agnes today with my party invitation. It says you're coming. It's about time, girl. Bring that backbone. I know you've grown. I grinned and typed, "Don't worry, Grandma. I am not the same person who left 3 years ago." "Good," she said quickly, "because neither is your sister. And only one of us will like how this party finishes." Looking at the records on my table, which proved both my rise and Victoria's fall, I knew which of us it would be. I contacted Jason as I was heading to my meeting. "Make sure that records are kept safe. The party is in 7 days, and Victoria isn't the only one who knows how to deliver a presentation. Sometimes karma needs a little assistance, and other times it simply requires an audience." The notes began to arrive a week before Grandma Agnes's party. First, there were Hope's daily guilt trips. "Please rethink coming. You will simply embarrass yourself. Why don't you just let Victoria help you? We're only trying to keep you safe from yourself." Delete, delete, delete. I was in the middle of a board meeting when Jessica called 3 times. "You need to hear this," she said as I finally walked out to respond. "I just overheard Victoria on the phone with Aaron Davis. She intends to conduct this presentation shortly after Grandma's cake. Says she'll safeguard the family from your falsehoods or something." "Did she mention what the lies were?" "No, but—" She lowered her voice. "She's acting strangely. Emma, she appears to be manic. She keeps checking her financial accounts on her phone. She tried to access the trust fund again yesterday, but Grandma had locked it down for routine auditing." I smiled. "How did Victoria take that?" "She hurled the phone across the room." Perfect. The pressure was getting to her. "Thank you, Jessica. Keep me posted." Back in my office, Jason was waiting with additional information. "Your sister just attempted to enter the building. Security stopped her." I moved to the window. 12 floors below, I could just see Victoria's distinctive red coat as she stormed to her luxury car. "What did she want to talk about with the CEO?" Jason grinned. "I guess she doesn't recognize you." My phone vibrated. A text from Aaron Davis. "Your sister is getting desperate. She asked me to explore deeper, find something more destructive." I informed her that the report was definitive. I was ready to respond when another call arrived. "Grandma Agnes," I replied. "Are you busy?" she asked. "Never too busy for you, Grandma." "That's good because I'm outside your building." I froze. "What?" "I saw your sister making a scene down here. I figured it was time to talk." A pause. "What a nice office you have. Corner suites." 7 minutes later, Grandma Agnes sat across from me, looking precisely as I remembered her. Elegant, sharp-eyed, and unmoved by the view that had most people gasping. "So," she explained, setting down her porcelain teacup, "this is what you have been hiding." I was not hiding. "Save it," she waved her hand. "I've known about your success for several months. What I want to know is why you allowed people to think otherwise." I met her gaze. If I had told them, would they have believed me? "No," she admitted. "They'd have concluded you were lying, just as Victoria does today, despite having seen the proof. Do you know about Aaron Davis's reports?" "I know a lot of things." She brought out her phone and handed me an email with an audit report on Victoria's charity. "Interesting, Rich." "Don't worry, Grandma. I will not spoil her big presentation." She stood, adjusting her jacket. "Please tell me one thing. Are you prepared for this? For Victoria's attack?" No, on the fallout. Because after this is done, nothing in this family will be the same. Before I could react, my phone flashed with a message from Richard. Your mother is in tears over what you are putting Victoria through. I hope you are happy. I showed it to my grandmother. She read it and laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, they don't know what's coming, do they? She started towards the door but hesitated. Wear your navy suit to the party, the one from your Forbes photo shoot. It will appear great in photographs. What photographs? The ones that everyone will take when Victoria's presentation fails. She winked. I may be reaching 80 years old, but I still know how to put on a show. Jason entered after she had departed. Was that indeed your grandmother? The one and only? She appeared scary. I was gonna say prepared. My phone vibrated one last time. Victoria. This is your last opportunity, little sister. Back out now or I will ruin everything you've claimed to construct. I thought of the documents in my safe and Grandma Agnes's knowing smile. Approximately 3 years of silence and strength. You cannot ruin what is real, I typed back. Then I brought up the party invitation on my screen. There are 2 days to go. It took 2 days for Victoria to get herself ready, expecting to tear me down, only to show her own destruction. Jason, I called out, please clear my calendar for Monday. I have a birthday celebration to attend and a sister to witness self-destruction. When I walked into the country club ballroom in Los Angeles, the room fell silent. Conversation ended in the middle of a phrase. Champagne glasses froze halfway to the lips, and all eyes turned to see me enter. I noticed Victoria approaching the cake table, her expression changing from smug to surprised as she took in my look. The navy suit had the exact effect that Grandma had expected. Professional, powerful, and expensive. Emma, said Hope, her voice cracking. What are you doing? How are you? Happy birthday, Grandma, I murmured, bypassing Hope and heading directly to Grandma Agnes's seat of honor. I handed her a small, exquisitely wrapped surprise. Grandma spoke up just in time and loud enough for everyone to hear. She tapped the unoccupied seat next to her. Sit. Whispers arose throughout the room. This seat next to the birthday girl was meant to be Victoria's. That's my space, Victoria hurriedly approached. Tell her, Mom. Let her sit, Grandma cut in, her tone leaving no room for disagreement. I caught Richard's eye from across the room. He looked away first. The following hour was a symphony of awkward small talk and probing queries. Relatives that I hadn't seen in years suddenly wanted to know everything about my life. I gave them nothing but a smile and directed their queries back to them. Enough chit-chat, Victoria eventually spoke, touching her glass. It is time for the unique presentation I have arranged. She took out the thick envelope containing Aaron Davis's report and proceeded to the little podium set up near Grandma's chair. Before we begin, Hope interjected, perhaps Emma should step out. No, Grandma answered firmly. Everyone stays. Back in my office, Jason was waiting with additional information. Your sister just attempted to enter the building. Security stopped her. I moved to the window. 12 floors below, I could just see Victoria's distinctive red coat as she stormed to her luxury car. What did she want to talk about with the CEO? Jason grinned. I guess she doesn't recognize you. My phone vibrated. A text from Aaron Davis. Your sister is getting desperate. She asked me to explore deeper, find something more destructive. I informed her that the report was definitive. I was ready to respond when another call arrived. "Grandma Agnes," I replied. "Are you busy?" she asked. Victoria cleared her throat. "As you all know, family is everything to me. That's why it aches my heart to reveal what I'm going to reveal." She addressed me squarely. "Some people have deceived us, telling lies and appearing to be someone they are not." I sat back, relaxed, and let her speak. "I hired a private investigator," she said proudly, "to find out the truth about my sister's alleged success." "And what he discovered?" "Show us," Grandma interjected. "Stop talking and show us what he's uncovered." Victoria stumbled slightly, but recovered. "Of course, I will begin with these photographs." She took out the first one. Me, entering my office building with the corporate logo clearly visible behind me. "This is where my sister claims to work. A technology company is valued at—" She stopped, reading the paper for the first time. Her face turned pale. "Go ahead, Grandma," encouraged. "What is the company's value?" This cannot be correct." Victoria shuffled through more paperwork. "What do these documents show?" I asked gently. "Property deeds, stock options, board member appointments, Forbes interviews," she whispered. The room was silent. "Read it," Grandma demanded. "Read what that investigator uncovered on Emma." She's the CEO. The company, it's hers. All of it." Hope choked, and Richard's scotch glass shattered on the floor. "Keep going," Grandma whispered. "There's more, isn't there?" But Victoria had reached the last pages, the ones about her charity, and her face turned pale to gray. "I think there's been a mistake," she stammered. "These papers got mixed up." "Aaron Davis is very thorough. He documents everything, including these bank transfers from the family trust account, which you made without approval." "You had no right," Victoria shrieked. "Those records are private." "Like the charity's records?" I asked softly. The room erupted in confused questions, relatives demanding explanations. Hope was crying again, but for a different reason. Richard was attempting to reach Victoria, who was backing away from the podium. Grandma's voice cut through the turmoil, and she turned to Victoria. "You wanted to disclose the truth, so congratulations, you did. But not the truth you expected," I added. Victoria looked around wildly, seeing the expressions of our family change from shock to comprehension to judgment. "Well," Grandma continued calmly, "I'd say this is turning out to be quite the memorable birthday party." She grinned at me. "And we haven't even had cake yet." Then Victoria ran straight out of the ballroom, leaving her damning presentation behind. The hush after Victoria's departure lasted exactly 10 seconds before Hope found her voice. "This is your fault," she yelled, pointing at me. "You set her up." Did I compel her to employ a private investigator? Did I force her to take from her charity? "There must be an explanation," Richard interrupted. "Victoria wouldn't—" "Wouldn't what?" Grandma Agnes's voice cracked like a whip. "She wouldn't lie, steal, or publicly disgrace her sister." She scooped up the scattered papers. "The proof is right here, Richard. Your ideal daughter is a hoax, and your other daughter, Emma, who you labeled a failure, turns out to be the true success story." More relatives chipped in, and the tide turned as the truth became clear. Aunt Susan inquiring about the missing charity funds intended for her daughter's medical treatment, Uncle George inquiring about the trust account transfers, cousins scrolling through interviews, my accomplishments, and Hope whispering, sinking into a chair, "All these years you were successful." Richard demanded, "Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me?" I looked him straight in the eyes. 3 years ago, you said I'd fail, that I was nothing compared to Victoria. Well, here's the truth, Dad. While she was stealing from children's charities, I was building something real. I need to find Victoria. Hope stood up shakily. She needs me. Sit down, Hope. Grandma's tone froze her in place. For once in your life, face what's in front of you, instead of running to Victoria. A commotion at the door drew everyone's attention. Aaron Davis walked in, holding a folder. "Sorry for interrupting," he said, nodding to me, "but there's something else you should all know. The police have arrived." Hope collapsed back into her chair, and Richard went pale. I was required by law to report the charity fraud once I discovered it. They've been building a case for weeks. Right on cue. 2 detectives entered the ballroom, barely looking at the birthday decorations as they approached our group. "We're looking for Victoria Walker," one of them said, showing his badge. She left," Hope whispered. "We understand. We just arrested her in the parking lot." The room erupted again with relatives gasping, Hope screaming, and Richard shouting with the detectives. Throughout it all, Grandma sat peacefully, sipping her champagne. "Was it worth the wait?" she asked me quietly. I saw my parents hurrying out to find Victoria. I watched my relatives huddled in shocked groups, sharing stories of how Victoria had borrowed money or made promises through her charity. "I didn't want this," I admitted. "You just wanted the truth," Grandma finished, "and now everyone has it." She stood up, commanding attention as always. "This party's not over. My granddaughter, my successful, honest granddaughter, has finally returned home, and I want cake." Later, as servers cut the elaborate birthday cake Victoria had ordered, Jessica brought me a glass of champagne. "That was intense," she said. "But you know what's crazy? No one's even surprised about Victoria anymore. They're all talking about you, about how they should have seen it." "What did they see?" "That you were the strong one, real deal." She clinked her glass against mine. "Javik tried to tear you down and exposed herself instead. That's some karma." My phone buzzed. A text from Jason. "News about your sister's arrest is hitting the business feeds. Want me to handle public relations?" "No," I typed back. "Let the truth speak for itself." "Emma." Richard's voice made me look up. He stood awkwardly, appearing older than I'd ever seen him. "Your mother and I were going to the police station, but first I need to say—" I cut him off. "Save your apologies. They're 3 years late." He nodded slowly, comprehension suddenly showing in his eyes. "You really did it, didn't you? Everything we said you couldn't do." "No," I corrected him. "Everything you never bothered to see me do." As he walked away, Grandma Agnes raised her glass in my direction. Around us, relatives were already shifting, adapting to the new family dynamic, one in which Victoria wasn't the golden child and I wasn't the failure. "Happy birthday, Grandma," I said, raising my glass in response. She smiled, that knowing smile that suggested she'd seen this coming all along. "Oh, sweetheart, this is just the beginning." At 3:15 a.m., my office phone rang. The number was blocked, but I knew who it was. "Hello, Victoria." A pause then. How did you know? Because you always do your worst damage in the middle of the night. I leaned back in my chair, looking out at the city lights of San Francisco. What do you want? I'm out on bail, she said, as if that explained everything. Mom and Dad won't answer my calls. No one will. That's what happens when you steal from sick children. I didn't. She stopped. It wasn't supposed to be like this. You were supposed to be the failure and disappointment, not me. Sorry for ruining your narrative. Can't you help me? Her voice cracked. You have money now. You have influence. You could make this go away. Silence. That's what I thought. I stood up and walked to the window. Goodbye, Victoria. Wait. She was crying now. Please, you're my sister. No, I quietly said. I stopped being your sister the day you decided to destroy me instead of accept me. I hung up just as Jason knocked on my door. Late night? He asked, noting my expression. Just finishing some family business. I gestured to my laptop. Did you see the email from Grandma? The one about her new foundation? Pretty bold move. Starting a children's charity to replace Victoria's. And bolder still, she asked me to be on the board. I showed him the draft of the press release. She wants to announce it next week. Speaking of announcements, he handed me a tablet with an email from Hope with the subject line, "Please read." I almost deleted it, but something compelled me to open it. Emma, it read, my father and I are selling the house in Manhattan that we always said you weren't good enough to live up to, the one Victoria was supposed to inherit. We're donating the proceeds to Grandma's new foundation for restitution for what Victoria stole. We don't expect forgiveness. We don't deserve it. But you deserve to know that we finally see you. Not as we wanted you to be, but as you are. You won. Not because you proved us wrong, but because you proved yourself correct. Mom, are you okay? Jason asked softly. Before I could respond, Olivia buzzed in. Miss Walker, your grandmother is here. Grandma Agnes walked in. Impeccable as always. Good. You're both here. We need to talk about the foundation launch. At 2:45 a.m., she smiled. The best time for fresh starts. She sat down and pulled out a folder. The DA called. Victoria took a plea deal. She's going away for a while. How long? Long enough to learn what it's like to lose everything. She met my eyes. Like you did once. I didn't lose everything. I corrected her. I left everything. Yes, there is. She opened the folder. Now, about this foundation, I'm thinking big. She looked up at me. Do you think you can handle that? I remembered Victoria's late-night call, my mother's email, and that meal 3 years ago when I left with nothing but my dignity. Actually, I said, pulling up a proposal on my laptop, I have some ideas. Jason excused himself, leaving me with Grandma to plan something bigger than revenge, redemption. Not for Victoria, not for my parents, but for all the kids who needed what Victoria's charity had promised but never delivered. My phone buzzed once more. A text from Jessica. Family group chat is wild. Everyone was sharing your Forbes article, and even Uncle George admitted he was wrong about you. I showed it to Grandma, who laughed. No, dear, times don't change. People do. Some grow stronger, some show their weakness. You did the former, your sister did the latter, and your parents are learning. She patted my hand, but that's not your problem anymore. You've got bigger things to build. Looking at the foundation plan spread across my desk, I realized she was right. I didn't need revenge anymore, and I didn't even need their approval. I had something better. The truth. Not just about who I'd become, but about who I'd always been. Ready to change some lives? Grandma asked, pen poised over the foundation papers. I signed my name, Not as Victoria's sister, not as my parents' disappointment, but as exactly who I was meant to be and always have been. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to hear more real-life experiences about building a life from scratch. Thank you for listening. And remember, family is about love and support, not toxic control. Drop a like. Share this story with someone who might need to hear that message today.